Welcome, everybody. My name's Mason. I'm the mayor of Bothell here, and this is just a normal day in Bothell where we have our federal delegation here to talk about a $19 million raise grant that we got. So just quick applause, because that's super exciting. I do want to note that we have some elected officials here. We've got our entire first delegation, State Senator Stanford. We've got Representatives Dewar and Kloba. We have council members McNeil and Zorns, I saw, as well as Deputy Mayor Alcabra. If I'm missing anyone, I am super sorry. But thank you all for showing up, and thank you all for your work in helping get this corridor up and running, because it takes a village, and we have a village of people making laws that are helping us quite a bit on that. This section of Bothell Way, if you've ever experienced it, is one lane in each direction with really no other facilities at all. Nobody's walking through there, nobody's riding a bike through there, and community transit's unable to run their Swift Green Line BRT all the way down, quite simply because the facilities don't work that well. This overall project is $63 million. It will widen Bothell Way. And it will add some of those assets, some of those pedestrian bike facilities that we know are great, not just for convenience and for exercise, but also for just moving people around far more efficiently, as well as far better for the climate. We get calls on this on a pretty regular basis, and we're excited that we have better answers to give them now. Another major aspect of this is there's 3 fish passages. There's going to be 3 culverts involved in this project. Senator Cantwell, I know you have been involved in leadership and getting funding for that for a federal level. Thank you for that. That's really important, not just for our salmon population, but also for the orca that rely on them as a food source. So we have already daylighted about 2,500 feet of Horse Creek down here, and we are super excited to help improve the rest of that creek as well. So we've got some great speakers here with us today. First off, I'm going to turn it over to Rick Ilgenfritz. He's the CEO of Community Transit, who's going to be able to run that Swift Green Line down here. And, well, Rick, take it away. Thanks for coming.
Thank you, Mayor Thompson. What a glorious day to be here in Bothell. This is really a unique event, and what makes it unique is the synergy that's taking place between all of the public agencies that are collaborating to make things happen here in this community, in this county. People have been talking and joking about infrastructure for decades, for years, and it is actually happening here. It is happening now. We get to celebrate the wisdom of our congressional and federal leadership in moving through the Infrastructure Act. We get to celebrate the leadership of our state delegation, Senator Stanford, Representatives Dewar and Kloba, with Senator Leas, obviously, making an investment this year, the largest ever by the state in public transit. And of course, we have local initiatives that were passed by Community Transit, the regional initiative by Sound Transit, and now this is the last piece of the puzzle that helps us put it all together. So based on the state's investment in the Green Line, the Fed's investment in this project, we're able to speed up the extension of the Green Line by a couple of years so that it will open when the Sound Transit Stride Line opens, so that people who live here and around Bothell, north of Bothell, east of Bothell, west of Bothell, will have multiple options to get around. And as we were talking before the event started, mobility is one of the key ingredients to make all these other public investments work for people. So we're proud to be part of it. We're excited to work with you and your staff, Mayor, to implement this project. And for those of you in the audience, if you have an opportunity to peruse some of the graphics, you'll see the cross-section over here that integrates the transit investments with the city infrastructure investments to provide those options for people. So we'll be working on it starting this summer into next fall, and you'll see service out here in a couple of years. So thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. One really cool thing about Bothell is that we have a couple different colleges here. We've got UW Bothell, Dr. Esterberg is here, and we've also got Cascadia. And Dr. Murray is going to talk a little bit about what this project means in terms of moving students in and out and getting folks to the university. Thanks, Dr. Murray.
Mr. Mayor, Senator Cantwell, thank you for being here today. I am proud to live in a city and a state that believes not only in mobility but access, and increasing access for students and our citizens to gain higher education, to gain work, to go to school, to live in the same community where all of these things happen. And it wasn't that long ago in your earlier career, Senator Cantwell, where you were instrumental in helping to make sure that both Cascadia as a community college and the University of Washington Bothell came together in this co-location in the city. There are not many cities in the state of Washington that benefit from having both institutions of higher education co-located in one single place. And this kind of project, the widening of Bothell Way, the increased access by community transit, allows students to get to campus. It allows them to live here, to work here, and to go to school here, so that we can ultimately put them back into our community, into our workforce. And without this kind of access, we're not successful at our prosperity, at increasing our ability to add to the economy. And so the campus, we benefit greatly from this effort, from both what the city has done, what the federal government has done. I want to give a special shout out to community transit. We have over 400 buses that visit our campus every day, and we're in constant communication with the transit agencies about how to improve that so that we can help our students succeed. So thank you both for the efforts that you've put in, and I know that our campus is going to thrive because of these changes. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Dr. Murray. State Senator Stanford is going to come here next, and he has been a huge champion for this. He has helped us get some of the previous funding for this project in earlier phases in the state budget, and we appreciate working with you. And I'm going to stop talking about you and just hand this over to you and let you say a few words.
Thank you. This really is a tremendous project that's been a long time in the making, and it's about providing real opportunities and real options to people for more transit and biking access, the ability to get where people need to go. Because transportation is not just an end in itself, right? It's about having opportunities to get to jobs, to find housing, to find educational opportunities. And this really strengthens our community and the entire region by providing these options here. This is a tremendous example of collaboration between local government, state government, and the federal government, all coming together, working together, planning together to build opportunity and a better future for our whole region. So I'm tremendously excited about it, and thank you, Senator Cantwell.
Thank you, Senator Stanford. And Senator Cantwell needs no introduction, but ladies and gentlemen, Senator Cantwell, thank you for coming. Thank you for your work. I'm going to pass this over to you.
Well, thank you, Mayor. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, it's so great to be here in Bothell today and to see so many of you and to see how much Bothell continues to grow. People may not realize it, but Bothell is a very important economic, education, and quality of life hub for people in Puget Sound. And people here, as we're talking about, your legislators, your senator and your two representatives, Kloba and Dewar, and Senator Stanford, are working very hard to make sure that we get the transportation dollars that we need here in our state to make this community a very viable, livable, great place to live. Now, my poor team on the way over here had to listen to old Bothell stories. I told them, you don't realize in the pioneering days, people used to be, fur traders out here, and they would catch and get their furs, and they would row all the way down the slough, all the way to Lake Washington, and then basically get in a carriage and sell into Seattle, and then come back at night. They didn't have time to row all the way back, so they'd sleep in their boats and get up and row back to Bothell at the end of that very, very long period. So this has always been a pioneering place. And now you're pioneering how to have education, how to have a growing tech sector, and how to integrate a livable community. So I just want to thank the mayor and the council and everybody here for continuing to help us grow within Puget Sound and yet make the right choices. Thank you for mentioning the culvert work, because in addition to the $2.2 billion that the federal government passed in the infrastructure investment bill, we had a specific section in there that said you have to plan also for the migration and fish passage, something we hadn't necessarily always done when we made our transportation investment. We call it fish infrastructure. But because we built so much transportation throughout Puget Sound, oftentimes not thinking about these culverts or streams, the consequences is it has impacted our salmon. So thanks for using dollars to continue to daylight and increase capacity of these streams. It will help us in Puget Sound. But we're here today to talk about the widening of a specific lost link, if you will, to making this area connect to this big education hub that we call Cascadia and the University of Washington branch campus. This is so important to help educate people in Puget Sound and to make it work for students. So having the rapid transit system be able to connect people here and from other places. I love, Rick, your description. It's almost hard to get people to understand that Bothell in the region, but again, if you go back to that pioneering history, it's the same. Whether you were coming from Finn Hill, or whether you were coming from Canyon Park, or whether you were coming from where Woodinville is today, like, it's a little hub at the top of the lake that connects the entire region. And it's continued to grow in such an enormous way. It takes that hub to make sense of it. So today we're making sense of it by building the last link of a connector so that the lanes that you see here on this diagram, that this kind of capacity for buses, cars, and individuals and roadways will all connect this region in a much more safe, secure, and easy mobility way that is so critical to having vibrant communities today. I thank the city and the state for planning this. The big news is that of the $100 million that the state of Washington got out of the federal infrastructure bill and 7 projects, this $19 billion that we're talking about here is the biggest investment that Bothell has ever had in transportation infrastructure from the federal government. And we're so glad to make this investment because we know that it's improving safety, we know that it's improving quality of life, and it's making sense of the Swift Link system to better connect everybody throughout the region. So thank you to everybody for making this a great success and planning for our future. Thank you for everybody who is thinking about the livability aspect of this. And just thank you for helping us grow in smart ways in Puget Sound. It's hard, but you guys are doing it. So thank you very much. And I'll turn it back over to the mayor.
Thank you, Senator. One thing before we wrap this up that I just want to tie in is that transportation is obviously critically important, but it doesn't exist in a vacuum. It doesn't exist by itself. And as we look to do our comprehensive plan update over the next couple of years, knowing that this project is going to be on board in 2028 instead of sometime maybe in the mid-2030s, allows us to zone for more housing, being comfortable that those people are going to be able to get where they need to go. Because we're increasing the capacity of people that can be moved on this corridor so much, we'll be able to use that tool to help address some of the other really big picture issues that we face as a society. So thank you, everybody, for coming here tonight. Oh, the one last thing I wanted to say is when we can move more people in and out of a city, Brittany from the Chamber couldn't make it today, but that's more people coming into town to have dinner. That's more people coming into town to shop. That's more people coming into town to have fun, do business, and create a more vibrant, but also more economically sustainable Bothell, which is super important to, obviously, everybody that lives here and those of us that are making decisions. So this project is phenomenal on its own. But when you look at all of the other big picture issues that it addresses, I get even more excited about it. So thank you, Senator Cantwell. Thank you, everybody else, for coming out here today to help us celebrate this. We appreciate having you here.